Welcome to episode 2 of U.S. Essential Business. In this episode, we'll be talking with Steve Mathey. Now, Steve is an engineer that works for a company called DS Brown, and they are located in North Baltimore, Ohio. What DS Brown specializes in is wrapping bridge cables with an elastomeric wrap, keeping the cables free from corrosion, allowing our bridges to be safe and safer for a longer period of time. Actually, Steve invited me to join him on a Zoom call since he couldn't be there in person. We actually traveled via Zoom to Virginia to the Varina Enon Bridge, which is a beautiful bridge, and I watched firsthand them installing this elastomeric wrap over the cables of the bridge. So pretty interesting. So when we think of essential business, keeping our infrastructure safe, quite essential. So let's give our attention to our next episode as we go to Ohio, and we'll talk with Mr. Steve Mathey. So Steve, welcome to the show, and thank you for taking time to be here.
Thanks, Craig. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's nice. I was trying to think before we hit the record button how long we've known each other, and it's probably about 15 years. So what else do you do particularly for DS Brown?
I manage the maintenance and of the facility, take care of that, and then I also manage a product line called Cable Guard, which is the bridge wrap that we're working on today.
And what is the purpose of that cable guard? What does it serve? How does it serve the bridge?
Cable guard is a protective coating for suspension bridges and cable stay bridges, two different types of bridges. You've probably seen these guys at Golden Gate Bridge, for example. They paint. That's all they do is paint that cable. They work from one end to the other, and they constantly paint it. Cable guard is a more permanent solution. It's elastomeric system that's wrapped around the cable and heat bonded to itself, and it forms a barrier to water, moisture, problems with sunlight. And more recently, it's come into use for dehumidification of suspension bridge cables, where they blow dehumidified air into the cable. And so you need to have something, a sheath or something that will keep the air in the cable so that dehumidified air can pick up moisture in the cable, and it extends the length of the cable's life dramatically, because there's no moisture, there's no rust. So it's has about a 50-year life. It matches the color, whatever color we need to match, we can. And it's become a very popular product all over the world.
That is interesting. And when I had the idea for doing this podcast, I thought of you because quite often I'll get pictures from you, whether you're in China or Turkey and various spots around the United States. You obviously do a lot of traveling, but now you're not traveling. You're actually working from home. So how are you able to still accomplish your job working from home when you've been used to really traveling the world?
Yeah, so it's been a little bit of a challenge. Our company wisely limited travel with COVID-19. They're interested in the safety of their employees. And so we have a lot of sales guys and technical representatives that go out and do infrastructure installations and demonstrate that. So what I've done with my product line is we are doing virtual tech rep, and we're using this platform, Zoom. And actually works really well. We did a training session last Friday with a contractor in their yard on a mock-up of how to install our product. And then today, we're out actually on the bridge. I think that's where you were. You were on the bridge with us today just for a little bit. And it's really nice because the state, the DOT, Department of Transportation, the engineers, they can all jump on. They don't have to leave their home or their office, and we can train them. It's not as quick, and it's not as easy to train, but we certainly got the job done, and it keeps people safe.
I did notice that today you were walking step by step for another guy who was on his iPhone shooting real live video back via Zoom to you. Just thinking about that technology that we wouldn't have thought about using 3 weeks ago. What other challenges are you finding with your job and how to communicate or get things done that you would normally get done when you obviously be on site?
Yeah, I think we also use at work Microsoft Teams. So you're probably familiar with that. It's like Zoom.
Yep, we use it.
So Microsoft Teams, we're able to have meetings, and a lot of our office staff is currently working from home. They've moved most of them to home with a goal of fewer people at the facility, the less risk there is, and the more space there is between people. So it's been a little since I'm usually in the facility and have hands-on and eyes-on problems there. We've been able to do a lot of things with Zoom and using Teams as well, but it's not as efficient, obviously, as being there.
Yeah, that's for sure. We're finding that as well. It's a nice alternative, but it's not the first choice. Obviously, you'd like to be there in person. Any disruption in your product line? Companies not being able to ship certain things? Are you running into anything like that? And if so, how are you working around those?
We've had a few, obviously, in the supply chain. We've got a pretty robust supply chain for. We do a lot of steel. We manufacture a lot of steel components for bridges, and that seems to still be functioning. Although we have had some small disruptions. The same thing everybody else runs into. You need disinfectants and cleaning supplies. Those things have become a little bit harder to come by. The things I've noticed have been in ordering new equipment or parts for new equipment. Uh, Sometimes the lead times are insane because they don't know for sure how long it's going to take to get the set of pumps needed to make this or other things. So those lead times on new equipment have definitely extended out.
Interesting. Yeah, so we're fighting those things as well. The company that I work for, we sold a lot of PPE equipment, and now it's going to first line responders, understandably so. So it's been frustrating for us to try to fulfill the orders from our current customers. So have any opportunities opened up for you during this?
It's interesting. We are considered obviously an essential business because we work on infrastructure, and none of the departments of transportation have. I think maybe Pennsylvania might have shut down, but most are staying up. And in fact, we've had requests from a number of DOTs to speed up the delivery on products that they have because the traffic is so reduced on some of these lanes that it's much easier to get a lane closure and do some of the work. So that we've actually seen a request for more product due to reduced traffic on bridges, which I thought was an interesting thing. And I noticed that today there was not as much traffic on the bridge we were on today as what we would normally see.
I thought about that as well because when you invited me on, it should have been bumper to bumper because I was thinking it was probably near morning rush hour, and yet you'd hear an occasional truck go by, and it was kind of eerie just realizing the less people out there on the road. So, well, we're glad that's opened up for you. As far as the supply chain, now that you're getting greater requests, does that put a further strain on incoming products?
Yeah, I think everybody slowed down to a certain extent, and you have people that have different programs within their facilities to keep people safe, and people have different feelings about coming to work, and they're concerned, obviously, about getting this virus. So we do see a little bit of slowdown, and then we're just trying to work around those as they come our way. That's the best we can do.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I really appreciate you getting on the call here for about 5 minutes or so and showing some insights. We really appreciate all the work that you guys are doing. And yeah, these are things that we don't think about. You know, you drive over a bridge, you just know the bridge is going to be there. But it's companies like you, people like you that provide a valuable service. And we understand how essential it is that we keep that infrastructure running and safety first. We think about safety during this time, right? We're thinking about masks and sanitizing and wearing gloves, but boy, driving over a bridge, it's got to stay up.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Captain Obvious speaking right there, right?
Yeah, our company is one of a number of companies that are part of a larger family of Gibraltar Industries, and it's interesting some of the things that they've done that are, I think, very unique to not only protect their people because we need to stay in business, but also not to just protect our people, but to stay producing. One of their divisions, I believe, makes it's a small little division. And they make awnings for houses, sewn awnings, and they have no orders, so they have no work. But the CEO of the company was looking for ways to keep them employed, and they actually started making face masks. So they're making not hospital grade, but sort of those ones that expand. They're making a ton of those face masks. Another division is making the plastic face shields.
Yep.
Because the medical community is just, they're completely out of them. They need them. And so our company, not DS Brown specifically, but our company, some of the manufacturing divisions are stepping up and building some of those parts, and not to price gouge or anything. They're actually doing it essentially at their cost in order to provide necessary PPE for some people that need it.
That is some great insight there. Thank you for sharing that. And we're hearing that from a lot of different companies. I know our company, we're looking into getting some hand sanitizer. We actually, a place that you're familiar with, out on the west coast of Michigan, New Holland Brewing Company, they actually have adapted some of their distillation processes to make hand sanitizer. So we're in the process of purchasing a good amount of that. And it's going to be for our obviously our people that have to go into shops. We want to make sure that our personal people are protected, but we're also making some that we can give away to our customers because we know they're having a hard time finding it. So it's not something we're doing to make money, but like you said, it's all hands on deck. Let's get through this together, and we're going to learn and be better off at the end of the day. My next question, Steve, is what have you done, or what has your company done internally to make sure that your employees are protected?
Yeah, so since we have to continue running, the company looked at various scenarios. They spent a lot of time, our people spent a lot of time, and decided if somebody got sick at our facility, we'd have to essentially fog and desanitize the entire facility. It's about 250,000 square feet. It'd be a massive job. So in order to have continuous manufacturing and to protect more people, we broke our company into 8 different areas. And so people are assigned to a specific area or a group of areas, and any parts that need to be transferred between one department and another, there's a full-time forklift operator that drops it off here and then leaves. The guy from the other department comes and picks it up. So each of those 8 areas are self-contained. And if somebody were to get sick in one of those areas, our goal is to be able to have that running by the next shift, because we can fog, desanitize. We've got that whole crash cart thing ready to go in case someone were to get sick. Thank goodness no one has, and we want to keep it that way. And we think that by also doing off-shift work, moving people around, we have them working less closely together. They're not as close together, and so the opportunities to pass this on are greatly reduced. We closed all our break rooms. We shut down all our water fountains. We have no coffee makers that everybody's using, no vending machines, anything that could cause a transmission. So they've really thought through it, and it's actually a good plan. And I think the interesting thing is while people at first would say, what are we doing that for? They realize very quickly that the company's doing it for their safety, and everybody's on board with that idea.
That is great insight. We're hearing that from several different plants, is how they can socially distance, which I prefer the term physically distance each other inside. I don't like social distancing. I mean, you and I, Steve, are pretty social and sociable, but just a little pet peeve of mine. But yeah, no, that's very important. And get rid of those common areas. And obviously it's paid off. No one from your company's been sick. So nice job looking after the safety of your employees. And thanks for sharing it with us. Steve, thank you so much for your valuable insight. And we enjoyed talking to you and hearing some of the things you're doing and your company's doing to keep your employees safe. So in conclusion, if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at cbellinger@linksystems.com. If you have an idea for this podcast, or you would be interested in participating in an upcoming episode, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you for your time and for your attention. And please be safe, be careful, and be kind.